You've seen the cartoons, you've heard the jokes, maybe you've even studied it. Some of you have probably studied these verses, but what is going on there with this tree of knowledge of good and evil? I don't know. There's a lot of guesses out there. And this is the kind of story where there's not just one moral takeaway. I wish there was just one moral takeaway. A lot of times in the Bible that can be. But in this case, I don't know. There's a lot of ideas. So I'm going to give you a few ideas about this tree and what it says about our ability to live more fully into God's love and grace and hope and peace. I'm going to give you a few ideas, but it's up to you and God to figure out how to take this story and mold a deeper heart in your life. That's between you and God. Not all of us are smart enough to do that. God's definitely smart enough to mold a bunch more of love in our hearts. So, as David says, what's wrong with knowledge? Knowledge is good. Why would we want a story about that? It's a good thing to know the difference between good and evil. We all want to know better, good and evil. Isn't that part of what God wants in the world, whether it's some far-off garden or it's in our lives day to day? Wouldn't it be better in our society if more people knew good and evil? And wouldn't it be better if some of the people whose unconscious actions are promoting values they never would accept if they were conscious? What's wrong with Adam and Eve? And by extension, what's wrong with Al and Barbara when they eat from the tree of, I know the difference between good and evil. That should be a good thing. Well, first, one might say that what's wrong with that is God told you not to do it, so don't do it, stupid. And how many of you, as a parent, they gave you a rule and you said, why? How many of your kids, when you give them rules, said, why? Yeah, and how many of you wires had parents who answered, because I told you so? Yeah, and how many of you who heard that answer thought, ain't good enough? And you fought back. You wanted a better answer. Of course it's not satisfying. And if God told you so, that might be the best answer. That might be the whole answer to the whole Bible. I don't really think that's the only answer in this, but it might be an important answer to this, but it just doesn't move all of us in our hearts. Obey? Okay, I can buy that. Trusting God? Yeah, I wish I trusted more, but yeah, I can get on board with that. Draw me closer to God by obedience? Maybe, but why? Why, God? Besides, some will ask, does God not tell us to eat of the tree because the tree is bad? Okay, well, what's bad about the tree? Or is the tree bad because God told us not to eat from it? And if that's the case, is God just making up rules as God goes? Either way, for some of us, we're just curious. St. Augustine, he had a line, he said that we have faith seeking understanding. He thinks that's kind of the goal of living in Christ, is understanding more and more about the faith that we believe in. Jesus had a friend who said, Lord, I believe, help me with my unbelief. Right. For those of us in this room who have not yet reached full enlightenment with God, and we are still on a journey to be closer to God, chances are, I told you so, just ain't going to cut it. It might be what the story's about. And God does know that I should trust God more. But Eve, I get it. I'm with her. I want to know more. Is anyone here dying to understand why is it that bad things happen in the world? Have you ever asked your heart that? That's the tree. Has anyone ever here just had this longing in their heart of, I want to do the right thing, but I keep messing up. Why do I keep messing up? How do I do better? That's the tree. Has anyone here ever wondered, you're just desperate, I had this shame from the things I've done, the evil I've done. How do I let go of those burdens? That's the tree. That's what Eve wants to know. At least that's one idea. Okay, so now that many of us have nodded our heads into heresy and weakness and humanity, here's a second idea about the tree. The language of most of the Old Testament is what language? Hebrew. Some of you got that one. Hebrew. And in Hebrew is way more slippery than English. We learned with Al that some words can really fit on top of each other, where you just switch a letter. It'd be like if I said, will write a will, and in English you get, that means that sentence makes sense in English. And Hebrew does that all the time, where the words just kind of wiggle in and out. We have puns and rhymes and a lot of goofy things in English. For instance, do you know what a Freudian slip is? It's when you say one thing, but you mean another. It's my favorite joke. Yeah, some of you are like, I don't get it. Kids don't get that joke. Don't explain that joke to the kids yet, right? They're not old enough for that joke. We allude all the time in English, but that is built into Hebrew at another level. And sometimes we read the Bible and the text seems so obvious to it, but if you read that in the original, there's literally figurative allusions all through these stories. And in this case, the tree of knowledge, some scholars will ask, well, what does the Hebrew word to know mean? Does anyone know what the Hebrew know means? K-N-O-W? And don't say it. Be wise in how you say it, because there's kids sitting over here. All through the Bible, the word know is a euphemism for a particular way that husbands and wives express their love. We describe that carefully around kids, and we don't explain the Freud joke because there is a time to understand things like that, and a time when you're just not ready to talk about all that stuff. Right, parents?
Yes.
Birds and the bees at like 26, 25, I don't know, somewhere there. Some scholars believe that Genesis 2 and 3, and a few beyond that the point of that story is about the tree of growing up, knowing too much for your own good when it comes to the birds and the bees. And if you consider what happens next, Adam and Eve, they realize they should cover up, which doesn't happen to toddlers. They don't know that difference. And then playtime is over, which never happens for kids. Kids, playtime is always on. And then they have to get a real job and toil and start planning for a family, which should not happen for teenagers either. But they eat the fruit, and time passes, and here we are in this allegory, not just about sin and obedience, but about puberty and hormones and family planning and all the difficulties and inevitabilities that come with that. Maybe that's Genesis. Or a third idea. Some scholars think that allegory that's really embedded in the text is really just an allegory for something else that all of us face, not just kids. It's an allegory about humankind. The tree isn't just growing up into physical and social adulthood, but we all go through consistently this moral growth where we start a bit immature about the ways of good and evil in the world, and inevitably we are faced with conflicts that we do not understand all about. So whatever the issue, war, racism, abortion, women's rights, whatever it is, it's almost written into what it is to be human that we stumble our way into things that we don't know enough about. And it sounds great, this idea of ignorance is bliss that happens in the beginning of Eden. But the fact is, we are going to have to face these issues of good and evil. We can't hide. Maybe we shouldn't jump into every fray, but part of being human is thinking about what it is to be human. And so, Hansen, what do you know about economics? Enough to get me in trouble. What do you know about politics? I will tell you everything, and if you disagree, you're wrong. What do you know about art? I don't even know where to start. What do you know about poverty? We really shouldn't talk about controversial things in church. None of those are good answers. Those are the answers of, I know too much for my own good, or I'm just going to hide in this bit of blissful ignorance. They're not ripe enough, or they're too ripe, those answers. What about this one, which I steal from the best movie ever? Hansen, what do you know about love? I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. That's a good answer. That's an answer. What if this story is about working together as a culture to build ourselves? What if this is about abandoning pride and ignorance, and it's a story that is the ramp to the next stories of the Bible? You can read Genesis 4 and 5 and 6 as stories of technology and urbanization and economics and the creation of a legal system where our holy ancestors wanted us, as we start to think about those things, to understand how we come in with a bit less pride and a bit more willingness to understand our weaknesses when it comes to good and evil. Or maybe not. Maybe fourth, consider this, and if nothing else, maybe this resonates with some of you. How did Adam feel before this story when he was just walking around in paradise? How would it feel just to walk around in paradise? How would you feel if you were walking around in paradise?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. How did Adam feel?
Carefree.
Nope. He was dissatisfied and he was lonely. And God said, okay, here's some animals. And Adam thinks, giraffe's pretty cool. Still lonely. So God said, okay. Hey, Adam, here's Eve. And Adam thinks, she's way better than a giraffe. Bone in my bone, flesh in my flesh. So now they're all satisfied and content, right? Not exactly. They're not. They're together. They're in paradise. They have every kind of tree, every kind of blessing there is, and joy available, even the tree of life, even that weird one, the tree of life, which is just this general tree that runs through all of Scripture. We don't even know anything about it. It's not enough. They're pawing around for something better. So they eat from the tree of knowing too much from their own good, and their eyes are open, and it feels like they're gods, and now they're set, right? Now that they've got their eyes open, everything's perfect, right? No. They still can't enjoy paradise. They hide. Once their eyes are open, they start to have insecurities and shame. They're even scared of God. For some of us, the battle of life is that we are always looking for peace that is right under our nose. And we move jobs, and we change relationships, and we read self-help books, and we try out different religions, and we start new hobbies, and we search everywhere for this last piece of the puzzle. We think that's what will make us happy. If we do that, that'll make us happy. And what if the whole time we are sitting in Eden, watched over by the beauty and the grace of God? What if all we're missing is the strength to trust in God? This story might be just an invitation to trust. It might be our invitation to let go of those anxieties, let go of those what about that's. It might be our invitation to appreciate everything that's around us. It might be our remedy from always going to the tree of, I wonder if it could be better. You are in a life of grace. And may you feel that presence, and may you embrace that blessed reality. Let's sing our next hymn.